welcome to another episode of A Beautiful Subconscious. I am in my fly JLo jacket and I'm in love with it. It is gloomy outside. Not that I need that as an excuse, but I just wanted to get in this fabric and just feel my fabulous. So that's what today is all about, actually. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about finding the spark in your everyday and mixing in inspiration with the tedious, somewhat uninspiring action so we can achieve our goals. But first things first, as you know, we pull a card, and I pulled this before we went to air. My daily actions empower me. Like how much this is so in line with this episode blows my mind. And I just can't help but just be in awe every time we pull a card, how much it perfectly lines up with what it is that we're here to talk about. So personal life updates, life has been a ride. It has been like, firstly, I can't believe that we're almost in September. Blows my mind. I'm mentally probably still in and around April. I would like it to be April in a sense, because then I can feel like I'm getting I've got that momentum going. But time is time. There's an illusion of time, and all we have is the now. So it's nice to kind of play in that field of like, I wish it was here, or can't believe time is going so fast. But at the same time, all we have is right now and what we do with it. So life has been incredibly transformational. There's a lot of trust going on. There's a lot of closure going on in my personal life. And with all these like moving parts and these things tying up, through it all, there has been such grace and such trust. And it's been really beautiful. It's been so beautiful. So in the process of finalizing my divorce with my beautiful ex-husband, and I truly like how we go about things together is just the most profound. And I am grateful for it. And it's that time. Like we've been separated for a while now, like 5 years it would seem. And again, where did that time go? Not really sure, but it just feels right. And even though it's the most loving closure, I'm giving myself the grace to feel all the feels. And I thought that they would have already been processed right now. And he actually got caught by surprise when I'm just like, I am convulsing. Like I'm finding this, like I'm grieving a lot. And I think he thought, and to be fair, I thought a lot of it would have been processed as well. But there's a lot that I'm still allowing to surface in order to validate and let it transform and transmute. And I think it's like the mixture of all the hopes and the dreams that we once had and just the love and the care that we have, because it doesn't mean just because it is the most beautiful closure and the way that we're loving and, holding space and respectfully doing this, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. And I'm just honoring that space and allowing it to be processed in the way that it needs to be processed. There's days that I'm feeling so inspired and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. I can feel that next, whatever it is, that next version and that next step in my career and that next part of my life. I can feel it now. And then, something will come and I will be in this groveling state of tears. And knowing and processing those emotions with this connection to trust and faith, it is the most profound experience. And I'm genuinely grateful for it. It doesn't sound like much fun. If you're listening, you might be like, whoa, that does not sound like a good time. But on some really crazy level, it actually is, because there is so much trust, there's so much faith that this is what's needed and you need to move through it to get to the gold on the other side. And no joke, my clients are experiencing this same momentum and trust and faith. They are they're opening up businesses. They're changing up the dynamics of their relationship. They are up-leveling in their business. They are letting go of old chapters, closing that out. They are like owning the fact that they're not wanting to push in their work anymore as well. There's one guy, and they're just like, this is actually what brings me joy. And yeah, that might look different to what I'm supposed to be doing or what is expected of me right now. but I actually don't care in the most loving way. I'm doing this because this is what's right for me. And it's just like, wow, yes, they are in such trust and ownership of what's right for them and unapologetically allowing themselves to go for it. And this is the collective energy that we are in together. And so I'm really, truly grateful. It's next level. So there's been a lot, right? There's been a lot, and I'm pumped to. I know this work so well that it's like you have to go through it, and it's so always worth it on the other side. Past evidence has always shown me that. I can feel it, I can sense it, and I know it to be truth. So that's where it's at, and like I'm grateful for it. So it ties in, with today's episode as well, where it's finding the spark and feeling that inspiration at the same time, finding that and drawing it out through the everyday, somewhat tedious actions that we need to take in order to achieve what it is that we deserve and we desire. So by the end of this episode, you're going to hopefully be fired up in knowing that the work and the effort that you're putting in isn't going unnoticed. It's this consistent showing up, even when the tangible results aren't quite there yet, but you can sense it within yourself. You can sense it. You just keep going, just keep going. Some days you might not sense it as clear. It might be like, oh man, is this going to work? And you question it, but just know that those actions aren't going unnoticed, and they're the magic beans to get you to where you want to go. And I'll give you my 3 tips to support you in this space and help you get more clear in what's really inspiring to you and what you're willing to commit to. So first things first, inspiration. Inspiration is so completely unique to each and every one of us. I get so inspired by sport. I love sport. I love watching sport. I love understanding or just tapping into the athletes and seeing wow, how cool was it that they got themselves to that level and how they're showing up in this space right now. The level of standard they they grew for themselves to that just be their norm. I love being inspired by musicians and artists, how they firstly have the ear and the understanding of music and how it all works together and the sounds of different instruments, playing instruments even, and then also being so brave to vulnerably express what's true for them in a song and express how they feel and express what's important to them. I think that is just completely inspiring. I also get inspired by people who cook and how they know how to put things together and understand the flavors and make an experience of it all and make it all work together and have the patience to, enjoy the process of cooking. I also get inspired by money. I love people and I love learning about money. I love how people use money, how they make it work for them, their relationship with money. I get so inspired by money and the energy of money. And so I draw upon so many different, realms of inspiration and it lights me up. However, do I want to be a sports professional? No. As much as I did win champion girl in 1994, do you know what? I keep getting that year wrong. It's 1995 actually, but I think I've already started saying 1994, so I'm just going to go with it. So I should have probably been a sports professional. I probably had all the trimmings to be one. Do I want to be a musician? As much as the Filipino heritage in me believes I sound like Whitney, I know I don't. I do love expressing myself through writing. Do I know how to spring together a beat and a song? No. Do I like cooking? No. I like eating and being in the experience of it, but I don't like cooking. I get really impatient. I don't understand flavors, how they work together. I will follow a recipe, but yeah, I don't know different flavors and understand how they all work together. And money, like that's a process in itself too. Like I love money. I'm in the process still, like reforming a relationship with it, because especially, since my separation, it's been a journey of trusting myself and making money in the ways that's meaningful for me, and not conforming to, the system of going into a job. And don't get me wrong, like I've thought about it. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it scares me. And it's a process of unlearning what had possibly been inherited. And I would dare say it's probably from more my mum's side, where you're unlearning what you saw and what you witnessed growing up and trusting. It's also a process of learning new habits, learning how money works, learning the relationships and trusting. It's taking action and trusting. And, it's this constant process of reforming this relationship, because we liken money to survival. And so unlearning survival skills when we think that when a part of our primitive brain thinks that we're under threat it's not going to happen over one kinesiology session. It's going to, be a process of just rewiring our neurological circuitry to make small but consistent habits to, change the way that we relate. And so, there's so many things that I feel inspired by, but when you're just working with inspiration, sometimes still our goals aren't achieved. And why is that? It's because you're not fully committed to the action it requires to achieve that goal. You're not committed to really showing up every single day to do the things that will get you that outcome. When you think of, becoming a sports professional, when you want that end result, like how amazing to be able to be in that arena, being achieving that high level of skill. But to get there, if you really were to reverse engineer that, would you be willing? Were you willing? Are you willing to perhaps sacrifice your early years, your 20s, to just be so committed and focused and disciplined, to sacrifice your downtime, to push your body, to keep moving in a way that is pushing your edges even when you're tired, even when you're, you feel like, oh God, have I taken 2 steps back? If I was to ask my son that, who's almost 12, he would absolutely say yes. He is so determined. His mind is so focused on his sports aspirations that we're even planning his high school around supporting that. He is showing up. He's understanding his body. He's putting himself in spaces where he gets to learn from, professionals that even if he takes little bits here and there, he's showing up. He's out the front. He's kicking. His focus and determination completely inspires me so much that I could even just mums, they can start to well up when you really connect to it, mums and dads. But he just blows my mind with his willingness to do the work for this goal because it inspires him. He's inspired to achieve this goal and he's willing to do what it takes. Same with if you're wanting to, say, make $500,000 a year. Are you willing and ready now to firstly do the work to achieve that number, to say yes to long-term gains, say no to instant gratification, really owning your money management, owning where you might be sticking your head in the sand, owning what you might just be tapping your life away with, it'll be fine, and not completely doing yourself the respect in respecting money in how you relate and exchange in it. And are you willing to, say no to some of the things now for that long-term future aspiration, for you to continuously show up and, find the people that you're here to serve and offer the sale, offer the service, get knocked back, show up again, do the thing, take the calculated risks, trust in yourself, unlearn the fear, relearn, the faith. Like there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that it's imperative to commit to long before the result is here and long after anyone's watching. And so on the flip side though, when it is only action and no inspiration, you can feel like you're on a treadmill and you're not really going anywhere. You're not getting anywhere. And I find many of my clients are in this space. They are, stuck in a job and it's paying the bills. It's, doing the practical things, but it absolutely is not lighting them up. But then again, if it's just inspiration and no action and you're not taking the action, then you're living in a daydream. So how do you combine the both? So here are my 3 tips to support you through this. Firstly, you got to get clear of your why. So when you feel inspiration, when you feel inspired, like say, for instance, I'm going to use the sporting example. I get inspired by watching them go for, get to that arena. I inspire them to achieve a goal together. Is it the actual work? Like, is it the actual sport itself, like playing football? No, that necessarily isn't what is lighting me up, but it's who they are, the faith that they have, the commitment and the team collaboration that they have, that I'm like, that is so cool. I want that. Why do I want that? Because I want to push my own edges to see what's capable. I want to work with someone to a common goal. I want to be able to achieve something phenomenal and be proud of my efforts. I want to be able to understand that I'm so much more than the constraints of my mind. And that's what inspires me. I want to achieve that within my own arena, which is in this regard, my work, my kinesiology. And so again, we'll line up with step 2. Do I want to jump there now? All right, we'll go with it now. So if we're going to tie it in with kinesiology, the second step then is to identify the actions. So to be the leader in this space and to really show up in living life liberated, because that is what geared me up. That was one of my whys for kinesiology, is I understood that it was me holding on to all these beliefs and paradigms and behaviors that limited myself, that was self-destructive, that minimized what I can do and what I'm about. And so it was my goal to understand all of them and free myself from them. And so what does that really mean? It means you have to face the ugly ass parts of yourself. You have got to understand that in relationships, you're not perfect, and you're going to see that you're going to be reflected parts of yourself that's just like, damn, I did not handle that well, or I was a bitch then. And just being really real with yourself and know that it just is. Yes, you're human. Yes, sometimes you get it right. Yes, you don't get it right. Yes, someone's going to see a part of you that you're just like, damn, it's not, Instagrammable. And it's just, if you want to be really liberated, you've got to be okay with all of those parts and set yourself free from trying to hide them, to distort them, to, overachieve away from them, and just really, truly see what's holding you back to liberate yourself from that. And so some people might be like, that does not inspire me one bit. And that's okay. This might not be for them. They might, they might have this way of feeling liberated in their own way. And that can be serving other people, let's say, volunteering, whatever they feel brings them liberation, then that's what's true for them. And so the third step is committed to showing up, that commitment to showing up like it's happened now. I'm living free within myself as much as I know how, but the end game, that end result, I've got goals with my work to get into workplaces and help employees professionally and personally, move out of their own way. I want to be able to teach more kinesiologists. I want to create this collaboration with other practitioners and specialists to provide this holistic package, kind of like our own sporting team, where we're just like, this is our goal, this is our end game. And so I'm showing up like that's happening now as I'm doing the work behind the scenes, that is just like, God. And, you question, like, is this actually going to work? And I understand that. And I know that dialogue very well. And it's like the questioning, like, how long is it going to take? How much longer? And trying to draw on the inspiration as well as understanding that those thoughts, are in existence. So it's showing up and being committed to doing the tedious and finding the inspiration in it, knowing that that's what's going to achieve the outcome. So the 3 steps, again, I'll repeat, is clarify your why. When you feel inspired, write down all the things that inspires you the most about it. Like, why am I committed? Why do I want to be in a committed relationship? Like, why do I want to, why am I ready for that now? Like, I'm inspired to have that. And then 2, identify the actions. Once you've written down the why, write down all the things that you know, and you may not know it all to start with, but write down what you require to be and what you're required to do. For relationships, you've got to be vulnerable and you got to be okay with that. You got to be open. You got to be willing to work towards it with somebody. You got to be willing to hear parts about yourself that you might not like. You got to be willing to conflict resolve in a way that you may not have witnessed growing up. So it's all these things that you are going to need to address and take action towards that may not feel overly inspiring at the time. And then 3, commit to showing up. Write down the actions you're willing to take and continuously show up, because that inspiration is where you want to be and what it is that you want to achieve. So you're taking the actions knowing that that inspiration is real for you. That's it's like my son, he's just like, I want to be a football star. That inspires me and I'm willing to do the action. Get clear on what inspires you, get clear on the actions that you're going to take, and commit to showing up as that person now. So inspiration is powerful, but on its own, it is not enough. The real magic happens when you combine that inspiration with consistent, sometimes tedious action. It's the mundane tasks that will lead you to your big dreams, and sticking with them is what separates those who achieve their dreams and who don't. So take the time to reconnect with what inspires you, write it down, write your why down, get clear on the actions, and just show up as that every day, ready to do the work, knowing that it may not always feel inspiring, but you're getting closer to your inspired outcomes more and more and more. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to hear how this episode resonated with you. Hit me up on social media and share what inspired you the most, what inspired actions you're going to take. And until next time, keep mixing that inspiration with action and watch your goals become your reality. I'll see you soon.